Hey there, folks. Let me tell you about the time my neighborhood's HOA tried to bleed me dry with a $50,000 fine for building a dam that was literally saving their precious cul-de-sac from turning into a muddy disaster zone. They didn't just send me a nasty letter. Oh no, they sent a sheriff's deputy to my doorstep, threatening to slap cuffs on me if I didn't tear it down, while the HOA queen bee, Deborah Hensley, stood there grinning like she'd already won. But what she didn't know was I had a stack of evidence that'd make her little empire crumble. And when I finally gave in and tore that dam down, I watched her whole world sink literally. I'm Mike Thompson, a retired electrician who's called this sleepy little corner of Willow Creek home for over 25 years. Raised my two boys here, built a life with my wife, Ellen, and figured I'd spend my days tinkering in the garage, maybe sneaking in a few extra beers on the porch. Life was good, quiet, predictable until that damn white envelope showed up in my mailbox. I thought it was just another HOA nag about my hedges being half an inch too tall, so I tossed it on the counter with my morning coffee, figuring I'd deal with it later. Big mistake. When I finally ripped it open, my jaw hit the floor, a $50,000 fine, bold red ink screaming at me like it was personal. The violation? Unauthorized construction and disruption of community water flow. They were talking about my dam. Let's back up. For years, the three houses at the end of our street mine, plus my neighbors Hank and Susan SGOT, hammered every spring when the creek out back turned into a raging beast. We're not talking a little puddle here. This was a full-on swamp that'd eat your backyard, ruin your flower beds, and creep right up to your foundation. Last year, Hank lost a $2,000 grill to the muck, and Susan's shed looked like it was auditioning for a role as a boat. We begged the HOA to do something, send a crew, build a drain, anything. They sent a committee who poked around for 20 minutes, then mailed us a letter saying any fix was too expensive. Translation: figure it out yourself, peasants. So I did. I spent weeks sketching plans, poring over drainage maps, and hauling concrete to build a small, sturdy dam where the creek narrowed on my property. Nothing fancy, just rocks, rebar, and concrete, designed to slow the water during a storm and shunt the excess into a runoff ditch. I'm no engineer, but 30 years of wiring houses teaches you how to make things last. First big rain after I built it worked like a charm. The creek swelled, the dam held, and the water drained away like it was supposed to. Hank and Susan were over the moon. Hank even swung by with a bottle of bourbon, saying I'd save them thousands in damages. For a moment, I felt like the neighborhood hero. Then that fine hit. $50,000 for saving everyone's yards? I thought it was a typo, but the letter, signed by Deborah Hensley herself, was dripping with venom threats of liens, daily interest, even jail time. Attached were these blurry county permits that looked like they were photocopied by a drunken turn. The signatures were smudged, the rules they cited sounded made up, and the county seal looked like it was drawn in Microsoft Paint. I called Deborah, figuring we could sort this out like adults. "No mistake, Mr. Thompson," she snapped, her voice like nails on a chalkboard. "You broke the rules. Pay up, or we'll make you." Click. Line went dead. I stood there, phone in hand, feeling my blood boil. This wasn't a misunderstanding, this was a shakedown. I tried emailing the HOA board, laying out the whole saga. The flooding, their inaction, my damn success. Attached photos of the swampy before and the dry after. Crickets for days, until one board member, Greg, sent a shaky reply. "Deborah's not budging. Apologize and tear it down. Maybe she'll cut the fine." Apologize? For fixing their mess? Hell no. That's when I noticed the county seal on her permits didn't match the one on the official website. It was a fake, sloppy, obvious, and illegal. Deborah wasn't just a control freak. She was a fraud, trying to extort me with forged documents. Game on. I went full detective mode. Dug through old photos, found shots of my yard drowning in mud from years past, time-stamped and organized. Set up a cheap security camera by the creek, caught a storm on tape, showing the dam working perfectly, water flowing exactly where it should. My dining room table turned into a war room, folders stuffed with evidence. But I needed backup, so I called my old friend Lisa Carter, a retired civil engineer who could spot a bad foundation from a mile away. She came over, glasses perched on her nose, and tore through my evidence like a bloodhound. "Mike, this permit's a joke," she said, laughing at the fake seal. "Font's wrong. Code's fake your garbage." She inspected the dam, measured every inch, and wrote up a report declaring it a textbook gravity we're safe, effective, and saving the neighborhood from disaster. We sent a demand letter to the HOA, certified mail, with Lisa's report, my photos, and a side-by-side of the fake seal next to the real one. Demanded they drop the fine and apologize. I thought we had them dead to rights. A week later, another envelope arrived. Not an apology, another fine, $10,000 for my unauthorized surveillance device. My little creek camera, which only pointed at my property, was now a privacy violation. Attached, another forged document, this time some nonsense HOA bylaw. Deborah wasn't backing down. She was doubling down. Then she got bold. 2 shiny new cameras popped up on a lamppost across the street. One aimed at my front door, the other zoomed in on my dam. Pure intimidation. My neighbors started getting hit too. Hank got a notice for overgrown grass. Susan for a non-compliant mailbox. Petty, vicious stuff to scare them silent. But I kept recording. Caught Deborah's car creeping by at dawn, snapping a blurry photo of my wheelbarrow to fake another violation. Caught her lackey, Carl, doing a 30-second inspection of my dam, claiming it was unstable in a report that reeked of lies. Every move she made I had on tape. Things hit a breaking point when Sheriff's Deputy, Officer Daniels, showed up again with Deborah in tow, smirking like a cat with a canary. "Mr. Thompson, you're trespassing on HOA land," he said, handing me a paper claiming my dam was on their property, a map redrawn with my land conveniently sliced off. It was a lie so brazen it almost made me laugh. But then came the court order. 72 hours to demolish the dam, or I'd be arrested for contempt. No appeal, no discussion, just a legal gut punch. The HOA newsletter sealed the deal, splashing my face across the front page, branding me a rogue homeowner, endangering the community. Neighbors stopped waving. Whispers followed me to the mailbox. Ellen looked at me one night, eyes wet, and said, "Mike, maybe we should just give in. It's not worth losing everything." I was gutted. 30 years in this house, and one woman with a fake stamp could ruin it all. I hired a contractor, watched him smash my dam to rubble under a gray sky, and sent the HOA a photo with one line. "It's gone." I thought that was the end. Then the rains came. Not a drizzly, a biblical downpour that turned the creek into a monster. By morning, my yard was a swamp, Hank's new mower was underwater, and Susan's patio was a lake. Deborah got her win, and it drowned us all. But that flood was my opening. I grabbed my camera, documented every inch of the mess: Hank's ruined mower, Susan's floating chairs, mud caking our homes. The neighborhood's whispers flipped overnight. Why'd they make him tear it down? The HOA screwed us. I called the local news, pitched my story to a reporter named Rachel Holt. My HOA used fake documents to fine me $50,000 and destroy my dam. Now we're underwater. I've got proof. She bit. Next day, she and a cameraman were at my house. I laid it all out: fake permits, lying reports, my videos, Lisa's report, the real property map. Took her to the backyard, showed her the devastation. Hank and Susan went on camera, voices shaking, spilling years of frustration with the HOA. Rachel's eyes lit up. "This is big," she said. The story aired on the 6 o'clock news, a 10-minute takedown of Deborah's lies. They zoomed in on her forged seals, played my footage, showed the flooded yards. Caught Deborah outside a gas station, stammering denials, looking like a deer in headlights. The city lost it. My phone blew up with calls from strangers sharing their own HOA horror stories. The HOA board called an emergency meeting, and it was a circus standing room only, folks clutching old newsletters, ready to fight. Deborah tried to gavel her way through, but the room erupted. Hank called her out for the mud in his shed. Others piled on fines for nothing, threats, lies. I held up my phone, showed her fake trespassing complaint, her car on my footage. Care to explain, Deborah? I asked. She froze, grabbed her papers, and bolted. By the end of the night, she'd resigned. The board cave dropped my $60,000 in fines, issued a public apology, paid for all our flood damages. We didn't stop there. With Lisa and Hank, we rewrote the HOA rules, capped fines, demanded real evidence, banned creepy cameras, opened all records. A month later, with a legit county permit, we rebuilt the dam better, stronger, with a whole street pitching in. Susan brought coffee. Hank mixed concrete. Even shy neighbors stopped by to help. When the next spring rain hit, I stood on my porch with Lisa, beers in hand, watching the dam hold strong, yards dry as a bone. She thought she could bully a creek. Lisa chuckled. Yeah, I said, but you can't outvote gravity. Looking back, it wasn't just about a dam, it was about standing up when someone tries to steamroll you with lies and power. Deborah thought she could scare me into submission, but she didn't count on the truth being louder than her threats. So, what would you do if your HOA came for you? Drop a comment. Tell me your stories. Have you fought a bully like this? Did you win, or are you still in the trenches? Let's talk about it.